In the darkness and despair of war, a light is shining in Gaza. A former terrorist who turned to Christ reports that Gaza's Christians are serving their community. And Jesus is appearing to people in dreams and visions.
Amid tragedy and suffering, God is intervening in war-torn Gaza.
About 200 Gazans gave their heart to Jesus in one lump sum because the Lord appeared to them in visions and dreams. And they were hugging each other and rejoicing, and realized that all of them had the same vision that each one of them had.
In the middle of war, when darkness covers the land and despair feels endless, something incredible is happening in Gaza. In a place where hope seems impossible, a spark of light is breaking through. Former militants are turning to Christ. Christians are stepping out to serve their neighbors, and countless stories are surfacing of Jesus himself appearing to people in dreams and visions. In the heart of devastation, God is moving. Reports tell of entire groups, hundreds at once, realizing they all saw the exact same vision of Jesus in the very same night. Families were embracing, crying, rejoicing, because they knew what they had seen was real. Now picture this. One morning, whispers start circling the globe, not about missiles, not about politics, but about something miraculous. A region defined by endless conflict suddenly became the focus of the world for a very different reason. Thousands in Gaza claimed they had seen the impossible, Jesus Christ himself. At first, people dismissed it. Some said it was just a rumor. Others said it was propaganda, just another story from a war-torn land. But then the testimonies poured in, one after another, from every corner of the region. Hundreds, then thousands, each one with the same story. At that point, no one could ignore it. What if it was true? What if, in the most unlikely place on earth, Jesus appeared and forever changed thousands of lives? Before we step deeper into this breathtaking story, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We bring you the stories where history, faith, and prophecy collide to reveal truth the world cannot deny. And this story, this one, is unlike anything we've seen in generations. Gaza, a land whose soil has been drenched with conflict for centuries. Empires rose and fell there. Samson once stood on its ground, tearing down the pillars of the Philistines. Egypt, Israel, Rome, all fought over it. Today, it remains a land scarred by war, division, and endless struggle. For many, Gaza is only synonymous with death and hopelessness. Yet it is often in places like this that God chooses to show his greatest glory. As the prophet Isaiah declared, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned." Isaiah 9:2. Could Gaza be the very stage where that ancient prophecy is echoing again?
It began quietly. Families started sharing that they had seen a man clothed in radiant white, brighter than the sun, calling himself Isa al-Masih, Jesus the Messiah. At first, these sounded like isolated experiences. But within days, the voices multiplied. Mothers said their children awoke in the night pointing upward, saying they saw the man from heaven. Men testified that he touched their wounds and they were instantly healed. Others claimed they saw him walking the very streets bombed and broken. Yet wherever he appeared, peace followed. Then something remarkable happened. Hearts began to change. People who once opposed Christianity found themselves confessing faith in Jesus. Entire communities gathered, declaring openly that they now believed. Former imams, once leaders in their mosques, stood before their congregations and testified, "We have seen the Messiah. He is alive. He is Lord." What happened in Acts chapter 2, when thousands turned to Christ in a single day, seemed to be unfolding again, but on an even greater scale. Reports claim tens of thousands across Gaza and beyond gave their lives to Jesus in just weeks. One woman shared, "I saw him in my home, though my doors were locked. He stretched out his hand, and the pain in my body disappeared. He said, 'Do not be afraid, I am with you.' From that moment I knew, he is more than a prophet. He is the Son of God. A young man who once cursed Christians admitted through tears, "I dreamed of him 3 nights in a row. On the 3rd night, he looked at me and said, 'I died for you.' I couldn't resist anymore. I surrendered my life to him." Stories like these spread like wildfire. Skeptics were silenced. Even the hardest hearts couldn't ignore the transformation. Around the world, Christians began asking, are we witnessing prophecy fulfilled? The Bible speaks of a time when multitudes from every nation will hear the gospel. Joel prophesied, "I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, your young men will see visions." Joel 2:28. Revelation describes a great multitude from every tribe, every nation, standing before the throne of the Lamb. Could this wave of conversions be a glimpse of that great moment?
Governments didn't know how to respond. Media struggled to report without bias. Some hailed it as the greatest revival since the apostles. Others feared it would stir more conflict. But opinions couldn't erase the reality. Thousands of lives were transformed by what they insist was a direct encounter with Jesus Christ. What makes this story so powerful is not just the sheer number of conversions, but the location. Gaza, a land the world sees as hopeless, became a beacon of God's grace. As Paul wrote in Romans, where sin increased, grace increased all the more. Romans 5:20. If light can shine in Gaza, if grace can break chains in the darkest place, then there truly is no limit to God's love. The revival is not just about numbers. It is about lives reborn. Families once torn apart by war are now finding unity in faith. Fathers who once taught their children hatred are now teaching them forgiveness in Christ. Women who carried grief for years are now lifting their voices in songs of hope. Even children, barely old enough to speak, are testifying that they have seen the man in white. This is not just religion, it is transformation. Neighbors who once distrusted each other now gather to pray side by side. Rival clans, once divided by blood feuds, are embracing and calling each other brothers and sisters in Christ. Communities that only knew fear are now marked by peace, joy, and compassion. Small underground gatherings have grown into open meetings where hundreds worship together under the night sky, lifting their voices in unison, unafraid of what may come next. And what does this mean for the rest of the world? If Gaza, one of the most battered places on earth, can become a lighthouse of God's glory, then truly no nation, no people, no soul is beyond his reach. For centuries, Gaza has been a headline for destruction, but today it may be remembered for revival. And if this is only the beginning, then perhaps we are standing on the edge of something much greater, something global.
What if this movement spreads beyond Gaza's borders? What if the Spirit of God continues to pour out across the Middle East, a region so often seen only through the lens of conflict? What if nations long closed to Christianity suddenly open their doors through dreams, visions, and undeniable encounters with the living Christ? Could this be the start of the greatest awakening in history? Already, stories are emerging from surrounding countries of similar dreams, similar visions, similar waves of faith. It is as though a tide has been unleashed, and no wall, no government, no ideology can stop it. Even the strongest fortresses of unbelief tremble when confronted with the simple, undeniable testimony of people who say, "I have seen him with my own eyes." This is why the world cannot look away. Whether they believe or not, whether they explain it as faith, psychology, or miracle, the fact remains, lives are being transformed. Hope is being restored. Light is breaking into one of the darkest places on earth. And it challenges each of us with a question. What if it's true? What if Jesus is still appearing, still healing, still calling people to himself in the darkest corners of the world? What if the stories from Gaza are not just rumors, but glimpses of a God who refuses to abandon even the most broken places? For those who saw him, there is no question. They believe, they have seen the Messiah, and their lives will never be the same. That is the story shaking the world today. If this moved you, make sure you subscribe and stay with us, because we will continue uncovering how faith and history collide in ways that reveal the power of God.